What's up? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Alpharetta, how y'all doing? All right, everyone's good? It's my first time in this town, beautiful town. Took a nice walk today and just very tranquil, serene. It's great, you know. I'm having a great time here. Thank the Velvet Note for having me here. Tamra for having me here as well. Tamra Fuller, awesome hospitality here. So it's been great. This is our second night. And I want to introduce the members of this esteemed band. Each of these virtuosos are just incredible, and they're all based here in the area. So you know the talent is real down here in the ATL area and Alpharetta area. Mr. Drew Tucker on the Mallet station, which is electric vibes, a hot instrument for sure. So Mr. Drew Tucker on the Mallet station. Mr. Terrion Gully on the drums. Yes, indeed, Mr. Terrion Gully. And I want to give a quick history of each musician. Drew was recommended to me by the great Warren Wolf, the great vibraphonist Warren Wolf. Y'all know that name, right? Warren Wolf, great Warren Wolf. And so when Warren recommends someone, you know it's real, you know? So Drew, no pressure. You know? Yes, indeed. And Terrion, we met through Christian McBride, and Terrion has worked with Christian for 20 years, over 20 years. And I've worked with Christian for over 10 years. So, you know, we met through Christian, and we also had that sports connection as well, you know, for sure. Yes, indeed. Mr. Brad Kanata on the bass. Now, Brad Kanata, 24 years old, young lion, definitely future is now, for sure, for him. Sounds great. And we had a mutual friend by the name of Gray Mayfield. Gray Mayfield, great saxophonist who lives in the area. But Gray and I knew each other in Rochester. When I went to the Eastman School of Music, he was a local musician in Rochester, and he was playing with the Garth Fagan Dance Company. So that's how I knew Gray. And Gray, and when I saw Brad was working with him, I was like, okay, I gotta definitely get him. And also Drew recommended Brad too, and then it just connected. So I was like, definitely had to have Brad on the bandstand. And the great Mr. James Weidman on the keyboards. The great Mr. James Weidman. This man is a virtuoso. He's worked with so many great people like Cassandra Wilson, Steve Coleman, Joe Lovano, Jay Hogarth. That's how we met each other, a great vibraphonist, Jay Hogarth. And that's how we worked together through Jay's group and everything. And so it's an honor to be here, Mr. Weidman, for us to play, you know, on my music. And also he's a professor at the University of Georgia. Go Dogs, you know, definitely, yeah, yes, indeed. So yeah, so I'm Nabate on trumpet. Thank you, from New York City, born and raised. And the album, In Motion, this song was called The Jump Off, and it's the first track of In Motion. And it leads off, you know, have something just like up-tempo, upbeat, make you move and everything. And also like the album In Motion, which is on sale. CDs are for sale right back there, so make sure to check out the music. Or if you want to as well get the album digitally, there's flyers there with a QR code, so you can be able to do that too. But being born and raised in New York, I wanted to do an album which was the basis of like how I grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know, with hip hop, R&B, of course jazz. You know, jazz was making a major resurgence when I was coming up. Movies like Mo Better Blues, like the movements like the Young Lions, like Wynton Marsalis and Terrence Blanchard, Branford Marsalis, Roy Hargrove, Antonio Hart, et cetera, et cetera. Like that's, I looked up to those people, those greats. And and of course dance music. This is more like from my love for dance and house, going to all the clubs and dancing in the city and everything. So it's great. So now want to go to the next tune, which is on the album as well, and this is in 7. So I wanted to create something that can be fluid in 7. So you know it's an odd number. Most music is in 4/4 time, 4 beats per measure. So wanted to do something in 7. And have that fluidity, you know, and hope you can not move your heads and tap your feet to this one. This is called Set Tune. Four, 5, 6, 7. Yes, indeed. That was a Septune, which is on the latest album of mine, In Motion, released by Rope-A-Dope Records. So I give a shout out to Rope-A-Dope Records. So now we're gonna play something which, this is like my parents, they had music in the house. The vinyl collection they have is incredible. And I still go sometimes to take a couple of vinyl, like with me. Like every time I kind of itch and take a little records more, and they know it too, just so I can listen. I still have a vinyl player and I still delve into the music. But my mother was a big Motown fan, big CTI fan, like Aretha Franklin and Luther Vandross too, Anita Baker as well, like all that great R&B 60s, 70s, 80s. And my dad hosted a jazz radio show in New York on WBAI called Musical Expression. So that's what really inspired me to play the music, because he would interview people like Joey DeFrancesco, God rest his soul. Miss that man so much. Also, Branford Marsalis, Terrence Blanchard, he interviewed John Faddis, like people like that. So I was around these musicians and that inspired me to play this music. But there was an album that really stuck to me, and it's a very holistic spiritual album called The New Perspective. Have you heard of A New Perspective, that album? By the great Donald Byrd. Y'all know Donald Byrd, right? The great Donald Byrd, trumpet player. Please give it up for Dr. Donald Byrd, for sure. He's helped so many great musicians and everything. And Dr. Byrd, was a Renaissance man. People talk about Miles, right? Of course, Miles, was doing a metamorphosis throughout the times, But Dr. Byrd was doing that too. He studied classical trumpet. He was one of the great Blue Note artists in the late 50s, 60s to the 70s. Then you heard of the Blackbirds, right? The great Blackbirds that's his group that he started with his students at Howard University. So he tapped to the younger generation, not just that he inspired them, but they inspired him too. And then he was one of the first professors in the first jazz musicians to become professors. He encouraged especially black musicians to get their masters, get their doctorates, so they could be able to teach at these institutions, a la Mr. Weidman, Professor Weidman right here is doing at University of Georgia. So this song is something that, and then later on, played with hip-hoppers too, played with the great Guru, the great rapper Guru and Gangstar. So you see, he was 70 years old playing with cats that were in their 20s and 30s. So his career was a metamorphosis as well. So we're gonna play a piece off The New Perspective, which is one of my favorite pieces ever. And you've heard this song before, and it's called Cristo Redentor, but it's gonna be with a remix. So check it out. Oh no, I ain't messing with you. No. See, that's why I'm like, always things get worse. All right. So one, Terrion Gully on the drums. Terrion Gully. Give it up. Give it up. Tank. That's why we call him Tank, you know? Yes, indeed. Drew Tucker on the Malice Station. Give it up for Drew Tucker. Brad Kanata on the bass. Brad Kanata on the bass. James Wyman on the keys. James Wyman on the keys. All right, so we're gonna play. So that was we went into from Cristo Redentor to Red Clay, honoring the great Freddie Hubbard. His birthday was actually last Friday, the 7th. He would have turned 85 this year. God rest his soul. Please give Freddie Hubbard a round of applause too, please. You know, yes, like one of the great trumpet titans. And I had the honor to know him the last 3 years. The stories he told me made me laugh. Made me reflect, gave me lessons, you know, and just what a tremendous individual. I had the honor to play at his memorial too, as well. So great individual. So that was Red Clay, and he was inspired. He was influenced by Dr. Donald Byrd, who actually Dr. Donald Byrd was like a mentor to him and a piano player who was on that New Perspective album. His initials are HH. You know who that is, right? Great pianist, HH, double H. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Herbie Hancock. So give it up, because they were influenced by Dr. Byrd. And Freddie talked about, he would tell me stories of how Dr. Byrd would have him practice with John Coltrane. They would practice together, you know, and everything. So it's really deep. So now we're gonna play a piece, which is very near and dear to my heart. This piece is on the latest album, In Motion, as well. CDs are for sale. Also, I have flyers there with QR codes if you want to get the digital album. But this is very special because I don't know if she's still watching on the live stream. I hope she is, and then she'll go to bed, because her mom will make sure that she goes to bed, you know, on time. But it's on February 22nd, February 23rd, 2022. My first child was born, a little girl by the name of Cadence. Man, thank you so much, and thank you. And she's now almost 14 months old. Such a personality, funny. Yeah, she's real funny, like so funny and talented. She loves playing a little Baby Einstein piano and the bongos. She was playing a lot today. Like, my wife sent me a video of that, and she loves to dance and clap her hands and watches Jeopardy with me and everything. And I want to try to make it seem that we're two-generation Jeopardy, because I did sports Jeopardy, but I want to get on the real Jeopardy. And she answers questions more than I do watching Jeopardy. It's great, you know, especially the Daily Double. You know, she like gets excited about that. But I wanted to write this piece when we recorded the album in May of 2022. Baby girl Cadence was almost 3 months. So. This is something that reflects her and her beautiful, wonderful aura. And this is called perfect cadence, which is actually a term in music where you go 5 to 1, the 5 chords to the 1, like that, you know? Perfect cadence. So there's a lot of that going on too. So I hope baby girl's watching too, and then go right to bed. perfect cadence. So now she go to bed. Now my wife will make sure of that for sure, because my wife sleeps early too. They're so regimented. That's a beautiful thing. So now we're gonna play a piece, which was very, once again, an inspiration to me. And the album that came out, this was around 1982, 83. I was like kindergarten, first grade, around that time. But this album really just blew my mind, just with the songs and everything. And it was an album, I think every song was like a single, which is crazy. So I'm sure you know which album this is, what I'm talking about. But the first one, though, I heard, the first one of this gentleman, his first solo album, I heard a couple years later. And then really in high school, that was like my favorite album. I would always listen to it all the time, along with all the jazz records I would listen to. But this album really inspired me. And he's one of the greatest entertainers to ever grace the earth, and that's Mr. Michael Jackson. And I was talking about, yes, give it up for Michael Jackson, MJ. And Quincy Jones, who's one of my heroes, produced these two albums. The first one I was talking about was Thriller, which came out in '82. And then the one that was before that is called Off the Wall. And it was so funny, Quincy, the record label didn't want Quincy to produce. They thought he was just a quote-unquote jazz guy. So look how wrong they were, because it showed that jazz, everything comes from jazz. American music comes from jazz, the root of jazz and blues. Am I right? So, and that's what the album showed. And just like both of those albums has so much diversity. So we're gonna play a track off that was written by the great Stevie Wonder. And Stevie never performed the song until Michael unfortunately passed away in 2009. And I'll never forget that day, because I was doing sports coverage for the NBA draft. That was the same day as that. And that was a memorable draft of Stephen Curry and DeMar DeRozan and James Harden and Blake Griffin, all in that draft. But I asked a couple of them about Michael, and they were, that's how universal Michael was. Like, everyone knew of him and listened to his music. So we're gonna play a Stevie Wonder composition that Michael performed, of course, on Off the Wall, called "I Can't Help It." That was I Can't Help It by by Stevie Wonder for Michael Jackson. Stevie only performed it, like I mentioned, after Michael passed. Now we're gonna play, we'll play two more joints before we call it for the set. And if you want to stick around for the second set, feel free to do that. And we're gonna now play a composition by the great, I'm sure you've heard of him, great trumpeter player by the name of Roy Hargrove, right? The great Roy Hargrove. Give it up for him as well. God rest his soul. And a few of us on the bandstand have worked with Roy and everything, and he meant a lot. You know, he was an influence to me. You know, and of course later on in his career he did the RH Factor, which really mixed up elements of hip hop, R&B, and everything. So he was like, when it comes to black music rolled into one person, that's Roy Hargrove. You know, he represented that from down from Waco, Texas. And we're gonna play a piece of his he wrote for his father called Roy Allen. Roy Allen by the great Roy Hargrove. So now we're gonna close out the set, and once again, the members of the band, Drew Tucker, give it up for Drew Tucker on the Malice Station. Indeed. Terry on Gully, Tank on the drums. Brad Kanata on the bass. James Weidman on the keyboards. Nabate on trumpet. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you. And we're gonna do a piece which is inspired by, Harlem. My parents were born and raised in Harlem. I was born in Manhattan, raised in Queens, though. But I will always go back to Harlem. Like, my grandmother lived in Harlem, as well as Harlem School of the Arts. I would go there. That's where I would cultivate my music, and also I did acting at Harlem School and everything. And so I was inspired by the New Jack Swing. Y'all know what that is, right? Teddy Riley and Guy. Of course, Belle Biv DeVoe, too. Christopher Williams, what I'm saying? Bobby Brown, which was Terry Riley, produced most of that record, that Don't Be Cruel album, and everything. So I think it was named Don't Be Cruel. Yeah, that album was named, yeah. So, but that was a double diamond. That was a diamond album, 10 million. So that the music was really infectious. And of course, New Jack City is one of my favorite movies, with all the soundtrack and everything, Christopher Williams, I'm dreaming, don't leave, I mean, come on now, that's like, so, I got, so, no, I wasn't, hell, no, I was Nino, what I mean? No, I mean, no, I'm saying Nino was the, Anyway, let me tell you, I have an affinity for the antagonists in movies. I have an affinity for the antagonists in movies, Like Black Panther, I was cheering for Killmonger. Heat, I was cheering for De Niro's character, Neil McCauley, that was his name in Heat. So anyway, we can talk about films too. I love films. But anyway, yes, indeed. So, but I want to definitely play this tune, and it's called Harlem Shake, which is on the album Two in Motion. And one more thing before we play this, I gotta give a shout out to my guest artists that were on the record. Badia Farrar, great singer. Also Mumu Fresh, great rapper and singer, MC, lyricist. Nikki Greer, great singer based in LA. I give it up to them. They did Black Girl Magic with me. I did a song called Black Girl Magic, which was inspired by my daughter and all the black and brown women around the world. And also give it up for Chuck D. Chuck D is on my album too, from Public Enemy. He got me into hip hop, like him and KRS-One, BDP, like that's the conscious rap, you know what I mean? Like rap, like commentating on what's going on in society. We don't have that in music now. And there's a reason why we don't have that in music, to uplift our children and have them see and be woke what's going on. So Chuck D, that was, thank God we had Public Enemy and Boogie Down Productions and X-Clan and Brand Nubian, those groups, for sure. Me growing up, and then before that we know it was Atlantic Records and all those great artists too. So, and then shout out to Cardinal Official, the great Canadian rapper and reggae artist. He was on the album too. So y'all could all check that out for sure. So we're gonna play now Harlem Shake. indeed. That was called 40N on the first album, Eclectic Excursions. 40N. It's like Savasana and yoga. It ends each of our sets. So thank you so much. Tamra, I give you the microphone. Thank you so much, Maestro, for having us. Thank you.
That's Grammy Award winner Nabate live at the Velvet Note. You threw me off a little there, brother. We loved having you. We'd love to have you again. You can find all of our upcoming shows at thevelvetnotes.com. My friend back there in the back of the room will be celebrating her birthday for a long time. So feel free to come back. Did you know that this is National Jazz Appreciation Month? So if you've been waiting for an opportunity to celebrate and show appreciation to the Velvet Note, this is your chance. You have 15 more days. You can come to a show. You can come to our Thursday night What is Jazz seminar for free, or you can just throw money at us. Or all three. No, really, check out the calendar. We really would love to see you again. This is what we love to do. We love to bring you closer to artists who inspire you, closer to each other, and closer to the song that's in your heart. Come and see us again. Good night. What would you like to talk about? This is your chance.
I think she wants to try that.
Really? You know, trumpeters don't really let people try their trumpet. It's like letting somebody wear your underwear. You knew all the spit that was coming out of that trumpet. You wouldn't say that. Hello! And welcome to another sold out show at the Velvet Note! The Velvet Note's a place where you can see and hear world-class musicians in a setting that's as intimate and as comfortable as your very own living room. We give you a chance to get to know the musicians and to hear the music the way that it was meant to be heard. The Velvet Note is a listening room. We had our acoustics designed by a protege of the Hollywood director George Lucas, under his guidance, to be the highest quality, unenhanced sound available today. And after 10 years and 10 months, sandwiched between a sub shop and a Brazilian wax salon, we've won our 7th consecutive award from Downbeat magazine for being one of the top 100 jazz clubs in the world. And this is National Jazz Appreciation Month. So I'm glad y'all came out. Thank you. We are so happy to welcome to our stage this weekend Nabate Isles. Nabate hails from New York. Anybody else from New York? Yeah? You're a New Yorker? Okay, he's a New Yorker. He went to Eastman for his undergrad and NYU for his graduate degree, and he is a trumpeter and a producer and a recording artist. And so we recorded with some really cool cats in and outside of the genre. He is an actor. Do you know that he was in a Coca-Cola commercial? Yeah. But one of the things that I really didn't expect when it comes to Nabate is that he is a Jeopardy champion. Yes. Yes. He won his episode of Sports Jeopardy. And he has his own sports podcast. And he keeps track of musical events by relating them to sports events. So I think that's pretty cool. He's got a great band with him tonight. And he's going to throw down. Yeah. For those of you who are winding down your evening, I just want you to know that we have pie. Key lime pie. Topped with cocoa whip, honey roasted pistachios, and kiwi lime reduction sauce, dripping down both sides. You ready? It's gonna be a great show. Put your hands together for Grammy winner Nabate Idols!
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? All right? Everyone's well? Yes, indeed. So we're going to play some music. that's gonna make you move your head, stomp your feet, maybe dance too. So we got some room here if you want to come and dance. We're gonna make sure we're gonna make that happen. All right? Cool, for sure. So, all right. So here we go with the first joint, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's get right to the music. Terrion Gully on the drums. Terrion Gully, Tank. That's why we call him Tank. One of the great drummers in the world. I'm honored to have worked with him for so long and know him, too, for so long. We go back. We met through Christian McBride, the great bassist. Y'all know him, right? Christian McBride, right? Christian McBride, come on, bass player, the legendary bass. Well, Google him, It's like a 9-time Grammy Award winner, probably the greatest bass player in the world, like in any genre, for sure. But we met through Christian. Terrion worked with Christian's group for years, and I worked with Christian's big band. That's how I was able to get those 3 Grammys with Christian's big band, for sure. So that's Terrion Gully on the drums. Drew Tucker on Mallet Station. So, and I love the adjustment he was making, you know what I'm saying? You see, that's the beautiful thing about jazz, you never know what's gonna happen, but now we up and running, So, and Drew, I met Drew actually through Warren Wolf. Do you know the great vibraphonist Warren Wolf? Yeah, all right, good, yeah, so Warren Wolf. Okay, it looks like, all right. Keeps turning off and on. All right, it's all good. But Warren Wolf recommended Drew for this gig, So definitely great to meet Drew and play with him, and Bad Cat for sure. Brad Canada on the bass. Thank you. Brad Canada on the bass. 24 years old, young lion, definitely, and you're gonna be hearing his name for many years. And Brad actually was recommended by Drew. But Brad also, we have a mutual friend and colleague by the name of Gray Mayfield, the alto saxophonist. He lives in the area. And Gray and I knew each other when I went to the Eastman School of Music in Rochester. Gray was a local musician playing around the city. And he was playing with the Garth Fagan Dance Company. So when I saw that Brad was working with Gray, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Definitely I got to get him on the gig for sure. So Brad Canada on the bass. Yes, indeed. And the great James Weidman on keyboards, piano, the great James Weidman. This gentleman, he's known me since I was real young, and he's worked with legends in the music, Steve Coleman, Cassandra Wilson, Jay Hogarth, also Joe Lovano. He's worked with often, and we met through Jay Hogarth. Playing in Jay's ensemble and everything like that. So just an honor to have him on the bandstand. Also professor at the University of Georgia. Go Dogs. And I'm Nabate on trumpet. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Velvet Note, thank Tamra and the Velvet Note staff. Wonderful individuals here. Such a fun time playing here. And Alpharetta's a nice town. I took a nice walk today around Alpharetta, and it's great. Very, very chill, laid back. I like that, for sure. But the hustle and bustle of the city, I can't leave that. I can't get to New York. I can't, until maybe when I'm 70 or 80, then I'll be tired of it. But I for sure. But now, that first tune we did was called "The Jump Off," and it's on my album In Motion. CDs are for sale in the back, or you could get a flyer to be able to get the QR code so you can get the digital copy of the album. But In Motion is like an inspiration of like the music I grew up in New York, 80s and 90s. You know that era of the music, like R&B, hip hop, jazz. Jazz was making a resurgence. Jazz was all over the city, at that time, and everything. Also dance music, Louis Vega, like all the radio stations, BLS, Kiss FM. Y'all New Yorkers know, we got a couple of New Yorkers in here. So definitely, so that first tune was called "The Jump Off." It's the first tune on the album In Motion. Shout out to Rope-A-Dope Records, my record label. And now, we're gonna play this next song, which is in 7. Like most music is in 4/4 time, right? But this is in 7. But, like I was able to put it together where it's like kind of seamless, where you can still bob your head and not feel awkward, you know what I mean? Like with the odd meters and stuff like that. So this tune is called Septune. 4, 5, 6, 7. Indeed, that was Septune. Brad Canada on the bass. Give it up for Brad Canada, making that bass sing. Drew Tucker, once again on the Mallet Station. Yes, indeed. Electric vibes, electric vibes. Terry on Gully on the drums. Yes, indeed. James Wyman on the keys. Yes, indeed. So the next tune, we're gonna play is something really special to me, because my mother and my father had a lot of music in the household playing like when I was young. And I wasn't really into music. I was more into sports, and everything, being a baseball player, I wanted to do that. I was in Little League doing all that stuff. And, but I really didn't get interested in like, pursuing this until like 13 years old. I would say 12, 13. My father is very responsible for that. He had a radio show on WBAI in New York, 99.5. And that really gave me the inspiration. Like, he interviewed greats like Terrence Blanchard and Branford Marcellus and, and Joey DeFrancesco, God rest his soul, John Faddis, Randy Brecker. He would interview a lot of these great people. Milt Hinton, Eleanor Jacquette, names like that. God rest their souls. So, I would just be blessed to be around and seeing these concerts, and it really inspired me. So there was an album called A New Perspective from 1962, Blue Note. Has anyone heard of that album? A New Perspective? Okay, I hear a couple people. Okay. It was done by a great individual by the name of Dr. Donald Byrd, the great Donald Byrd, trumpeter, who was one of my heroes growing up. And he was the mentor of my musical father, Jimmy Owens. And he was Jimmy Owens' teacher, so it's kind of like I felt like Dr. Donald Byrd was like my musical grandfather, And so with this album, like Dr. Byrd's career, classical trumpet, Blue Note recording artist for like 25, 30 years, He was responsible for all those great Blue Note records of the 50s and 60s, and then you know the Blackbirds, right? You know that group, the Blackbirds, you know. That's Donald Byrd, you know. That was his students from Howard University that he taught, you know. So not just that he inspired them, but they inspired him too. He was tapped into the younger generation. And then later on, like, he ended up working in hip hop with Guru, the rapper Guru from Gangstar. Y'all know Gangstar, right? Like, come on. Like, I know a couple people I know that know Gangstar for sure. A couple of good friends of mine here in the audience, you know. And Guru and Dr. Bird, like, at 70 years old wearing overalls, you know, and playing trumpet, and he was hip. Like, they were looking up to him. They were like, you know, he was just such a master. He was like Miles, you know, kind of like changing with the times. So please check out Dr. Donald Byrd's work, his discography, and everything. But he played a piece on that album, A New Perspective, which is such a spiritual record, and everything, very spiritual. And Duke Pearson, the great pianist, wrote this piece. And there was another pianist featured on there by the initials of H.H. Y'all know who that is? The great pianist he's 83 years old now, H.H., double H. Herbie, yes, Herbie Hancock, yes indeed. So Herbie Hancock, that was one of his first albums. Dr. Bird discovered him, you know, in Chicago and brought him to New York. He was Herbie Hancock in his book, his memoir, talks about he was sleeping at Donald Bird's living room floor. You know, living room couch, you know what I mean? Sleeping there, like, when he moved to New York. So we're going to play a great tune called Cristo Redentor. And you'll know the melody for sure. indeed. Terrion Gully on the drums, Drew Tucker on the mallet station, James Watman on the keys, Brad Kanata on the bass. And that was actually, we put in some Red Clay for you, the great Freddie Hubbard, Red Clay. And y'all heard of Freddie Hubbard, another master trumpet player, right? He was like, Donald Byrd was like a big brother to Freddie Hubbard, because when Freddie moved to New York, Dr. Donald Byrd was there for him, you know, and helped him out. And he also got Freddie to, I remember Freddie would tell me these stories. I had the honor to know Mr. Hubbard for the last 3 years of his life. Got to go to his house at Sherman Oaks, you know, for dinner. One time he lived in California. You know, him and Briggy, God rest both their souls. You know, Briggy is his wife. But Freddie talked about how Dr. Byrd introduced him to John Coltrane, and they would practice together. You know, that's deep, you know, and everything. So that was Red Clay. And that was sampled by Tribe Called Quest as well, that groove right there. So now we're gonna go to a piece that's also on my album In Motion. Please check it out. It's CDs are for sale. Also, you can get a flyer to get the QR code to get the digital album. And I wanna this is a piece that really is near and dear to my heart, because on February 23rd, 2022. My first child was born, Cadence Salika Ios, and she's just a gem. She's musical, she dances, she's so intelligent. She watches Jeopardy with me, and everything. She knows the answers. When the Daily Double comes up, she's like this, you know. No, she's thank you, and that's a show that I'm inspired to have two generations, myself and her, get on this show, because I did Sports Jeopardy, won that. I want to get on Jeopardy, you know. So give me a couple years, you'll see me on there. But and that'll be a good way to push my albums too. You know I'm gonna do that on there. I'm boy, but they'll probably edit it out anyway. They'll edit it out. You know how they do on television with these TV shows. But she's just such an amazing, just an amazing aura, and she's so, you know, so vibrant. So this piece is called Perfect Cadence, and it's interesting because the perfect cadence in music is 5-1. Yeah, it's right there. So it's like 5-1, 5 chord to the 1 chord, and there's a lot of that going on in this piece. But also, it's for Cadence, who's definitely perfect for sure. Perfect Cadence. Perfect cadence for Cadence Zalika Isles. She saw the live stream earlier, the first set. She saw us, but she's now in bed. You know, hopefully she doesn't wake up teething. She's been teething a lot. So, yeah. So, but yeah. So now we're gonna go to. Okay, we're gonna go to a joint that is on the first album, and it pretty much reflects the current events at that time, of a very, misogynistic comment, very disrespectful comment that came out when a certain president said before he was elected, and let me tell you, it comes from Democrats, Republicans. I'm not going on political. I'm not going there, but I'm just saying, like we have shady politicians wherever, it doesn't matter, So, but this particular case, he was talking about grab her by the, like, come on now, like, and to get away with that, like, come on, like, So I wrote a tune from the first album, which reflected that, like, kind of like a very trippy, ambiguous, like, trap type of joint you're gonna hear once again, like, just being inspired by all types of music, in my compositions. And this is called Grab Her by the What? And that's on Eclectic Excursions, which is available for picking up too, on the CD and also digital. I was pointing to him. I was like, give it up. You know? Yes, indeed. Drew Tucker on the Malestation. Brad Kanata on the bass. James Wyman on the keys. Yeah, I'm with you. That's why I'm not taking it out. I don't know what's going on. But, you know, I don't want it. Because like I said, I messed things up. I messed it up earlier. So, all right. So now we're going to go to a piece that you're all familiar with. And an artist that you're all familiar with. You know, growing up, this artist was, of course, big before I was born. But then he became like I mean, he was already a megastar, but became like a ultimate superstar. And I remember, I'll never forget when the video came out, and I'm gonna tell you in a minute what it was, but when the video came out, like I wanted to stay up late and everything. Me and my little niece, well, not little, my niece is only 3 years younger than me, because I have a half brother who's like 16 years older, so my niece is 3 years younger. And we were like, well, we want to stay up and see the video. We want to stay up and see the video. That's when music videos were big in the early 80s. And that video was Thriller. You know, and then it was scary, and we were like telling my mom and dad, we were like, no, we want to go to bed. It's too scary. They're like, no, you stayed up and see this video. You're gonna see this video. No, that video wasn't it scary, y'all? That was I was like, what? That let me tell you, wow. I think directed John Landis directed it, I think, right? John Landis, who did Trading Places, a great director. But yeah, it was like very cinematic, you know. But anyway, so then. I thought it was Michael Bay. No, not Michael Bay. No, he ain't that tasteful, you know. Oh no, did I say that? Oh, that's it. I didn't say it. but no. On the real though, then like so that album Thriller, every song was a single. Every joint, all 9 of those joints was a single. And it was produced by Quincy Jones, my musical hero. You know, give it up for Quincy Jones. Just turned 90 years old last month. Still alive and still in great spirits. And so then there was an album before that called Off the Wall that I got into when I got older. And that album Off the Wall is just as powerful, you know. And on that, yes indeed. And on that album, you know, it's so funny, Quincy Jones, they said, oh, why get a jazz guy to produce your album, you know? And of course, we saw that, and it shows you how jazz is the root of all American music. You know, it's the root. Jazz and blues are the roots of all American music, and that's what we had with Off the Wall, Thriller, and then Bad later on, you know, when Quincy produced those albums. So we're going to play a joint from Off the Wall that was written by Stevie Wonder. And the great Stevie Wonder that he wrote for Michael Jackson. And Stevie only performed this after Michael passed away. And when Michael passed away, I remember, because I do sports coverage as well, I was at the 2009 NBA draft. That same day when Michael died, and that draft had Steph Curry and DeMar DeRozan and Blake Griffin and James Harden all in that draft. And I asked a couple of the draftees about Michael Jackson, you know, and they all talked about his songs and stuff. So that tells you how timeless Michael Jackson was and how he made an impact on all generations. So we're going to play a piece by Stevie Wonder, Stevie wrote for him, called I Can't Help It. Remember, Motown. That's where they both from, Motown, Michael and Stevie. That's how they, you know. So, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Or you can clap 1 and 2. Can't help it, Michael Jackson. And you heard Tank, just with his brilliance, put that little drum intro from Rock With You. You heard that? Y'all heard that? You know? So, yes. Wow. Well, and what's great about, like, check out the demos. Y'all checked out because they released all that, the demos from Off the Wall and Thriller, all the demos that Michael did, like, before recording the record, the demos, he would use his brothers and sisters to play, like, the percussion instruments and stuff like, it's just fascinating stuff, so. All right, so we're gonna do one more joint for tonight, and I wanna thank you all for coming out. I mean, Alpharetta is a beautiful town. Loved it here, you know, and you know, being a New Yorker, you know, definitely. I mean, I gotta still be back in the city, the hustle bustle. I can't, the jungle. I love it. You know what I mean? Like I may move to a town like Alpharetta, like when I'm 80 or something like that. But you know, for sure, you know, you know. So if you know, but yeah. But I wanted to thank all of you. Thank the Velvet Note. Thank Tamara Fuller. Thank you. Thank her for her wonderful generosity, for sure. And I thank all of you and thank the staff. Please take care of the staff. You know what I'm saying? They're wonderful. And we're gonna do one more joint, which goes from my favorite time in R&B history, and that's New Jack Swing. You know what I mean? Like 80s and 90s. I was blessed to be, you know, like I said, I was in Harlem a lot. I went to the Harlem School of the Arts. For after school stuff, and my grandmother lived in Harlem, so I was around Teddy Riley. Y'all know him, right? Definitely. And Guy, Teddy Riley and Guy, like that, you know, Belle Biv DeVoe, Christopher Williams, Bobby Brown, you know, all those artists. And then the New Jack City soundtrack. Y'all, come on now, you know, Boomerang soundtrack, Babyface, you know, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, all those cats. That's, you know, yes indeed. So, but we're gonna play a joint that that I definitely you know, was inspired by that era. And this is called Harlem Shake. beautiful night. Thank you all for coming out. Melvin Note, Alpharetta, Georgia, Atlanta, ATL in the house. Yes, indeed. And I want to introduce the members of the band once again. These wonderful virtuosos. Pleasure to work with them for these 2 nights. And I want to work with them more again for sure. Drew Tucker on the Mallet Station. Drew Tucker on the Mallet Station. Yes, sir. Terrion Gully, the great Terrion Gully on the drums. Yes, indeed. And that snare's popping, right? Snap, crackle, and pop with that snare, for sure. Yes, indeed. Brad Kanata on the bass. Brad Kanata on the bass. Yes, indeed. James Wyman, the great James Wyman on the keys. Yes, indeed. I'm Nabate on trumpet. Thank you all very much for coming. And have a beautiful night. Thank you all.